I used to talk to an imaginary friend. I used to call my secret sister.
It's just sheer perseverance that brought me forward, and just a compulsive desire to find out just exactly who I was.
I opened up the email and then my world exploded. The father that I'd grown up with was not my father. That was the time when the secrets really started to be exposed. Without Genes Reunited, we wouldn't be sitting here today. That's miserable, isn't it? Yeah. Not as nice as it has been. Come on, babies. You're going to start since you're the oldest.
Hello YouTube, my name is Jenny Lucas. I was adopted when I was 6 weeks old, and for most of my life I've been searching, trying to find my adoptive family. I was fortunate enough to find my dear sister Helen, and now we have the rest of our lives to be together and to enjoy each other's company.
Hello, my name is Helen, I'm Jenny's sister. This is the story of how Jenny and I came together and how we found each other on Genes Reunited.
When I first read the things that Helen had written down about the childhood that she'd had, I'd had such a loving, wonderful childhood. I felt really quite guilty.
I grew up in a rather dysfunctional family. It was a life of verbal and physical abuse. And when I was going through particularly difficult times at home, I used to talk to an imaginary friend. But this imaginary friend I used to call my secret sister. And I used to talk to her every day and tell her my troubles.
I had a very happy childhood. When my father came through the door, he used to say, "Where's my love?" My mother always said, "It's either our Jen or the dog." It wasn't until I was 14, I was with some cousins. The three girls were having a little bit of a fight. The older sister turned round and said, "You just butt out of this because you're adopted," which was a traumatic occasion, and I felt bereft. Later on in the day, I tackled my mother about it. She said, "Yes, it is true, you are adopted." I could see that she was getting upset, and I just didn't really want to upset her anymore, so I stopped talking about it. But of course, it wasn't easy to forget. It just kept coming back into my mind, wondering who I was, wondering where I came from. It was in the 60s. There was a lot of stigma about being adopted in those days. I was in a haze. I just really wasn't aware of what was going on. I just kept looking at her and thinking, this is my mother, this is the woman who gave birth to me. She just kept apologising. She said it was the end of the war, you know, times were hard, money was short, and you have to forgive me, you really have to forgive me. And she was very, very uneasy and kept saying, "My daughter Helen could walk through the door any minute. She doesn't know anything about you, and please don't say anything, don't say who you are." There was a lot of stuff that afterwards that I thought, why didn't I ask this? Why did, you know, and you come away, I mean, I suppose, realistically, and maybe I should have written down questions that I wanted to ask, but I didn't even know whether it'd actually be let into the house. I had the very bright idea of putting a message on Genes Reunited. I'm looking for the family of Mercia Bradshaw, born such and such, died such and such. It hadn't been on there 24 hours when I got a message back from a lady who said, "I'm your cousin," and she was very reticent to give me Helen's email address. With my power of will, wheedled it out of her.
There was an email from someone called Jenny Lucas, and I thought, who on earth is this? So I opened up the email, and then my world exploded. Total and utter shock, because Jenny described the fact that she had found me through Genes Reunited. She believed to be my half-sister, and she said, "There's no easy way of telling you this."
From that moment on, then we started corresponding. It's just been on the go ever since, hasn't it? There must have been about 20 different avenues that I'd gone down, and everywhere that I looked, I hit a brick wall. And it's just sheer perseverance that brought me forward, and just a compulsive desire to find out just exactly who I was.
We thought maybe we should have a DNA test and establish whether we are in fact half-sisters, which is what we thought we were, or full sisters. So we had the sibling test done, and it came back 99.97% full-blooded sisters, which immediately meant that my father, the father that I'd grown up with, who had been so violent and aggressive and so on, was not in fact my father. And we already had established who Jenny's father was, Wilfred Harrison. So we then knew that he was our father. But the day that result came through was a great shock. Any solid ground that I'd been standing on, I wasn't standing on anymore. And I remember vividly looking at myself and thinking, who am I? That was the time when the secrets really started to be exposed.
The meeting was incredible, really. It was the culmination of 40 years for me of really searching.
But of course now we know that we are not only full-blooded sisters, that we are in fact fraternal twins. I was 15 months older than I thought I was. My parents hadn't registered my birth for 15 months. One day, the day before this happened, I was actually 62 years old, and I found out that I was actually 63 years old, and I was due to be 64. I didn't think that was very funny at all.
I thought it was hilarious.
Jenny did. Jenny quite enjoyed that, you know. I always, my entire life, believed I was an Aries, and then of course when this information was revealed, I discovered I was a Sagittarius, and I'd been reading the wrong stars for my entire life.
It's actually 50 years since I found out that I was adopted, and I can't believe it's taken this long. But the thing is that you've got to keep marching forward. You've got to be.
She's a slow starter sometimes.
You can get there in the end, and look at us now. You know, we are together, and has it been worthwhile?
Oh yes, definitely, definitely.
It's like finding the last part of the jigsaw puzzle, and finally we have it now. We're trying to make up for lost time. You know, we've been denied growing up together.
We're very fortunate to have a second chance to have each other and spend time with each other and talk to each other and just be there for each other. Bye-bye.